Hey, this is Allie.
And this is Emily. And you're tuning in to What Are We Doing?
Subscribe to...
Sorry. What are we doing?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel that we just created and find us on Instagram at What Are We Doing with 4 A's to see photos and videos of our daily adventures. We have started a YouTube channel, we think. Emily, you've got to watch this video that we put on YouTube the other day, which is Emily giving a tour or a walkthrough of the setup of the inside of the RV. It was genuinely something I thought that would be like a great first YouTube video, informational, let people, like, especially in the grand design community, you know, see like what we do to set up when we get to a campsite. Little did I know that, like, 12 years together, I did not know she was gonna bust out and blindside me with this like complete satire of I don't know, were you a flight attendant, a Vanna White? I'm not sure, but it is really funny. And we shared it with a couple groups in the RV community and then like our personal friends and family, and it definitely got a lot of laughs. I probably watched it 10 times myself, so that made us think like, well, let's just try this out. Let's just do a YouTube channel. No pressure. We might have one person watch. We might have 500 people watch. But let's just give it a go. And that's kind of the first step with anything, right? It's like, just try it, stop thinking about it, and just do it.
Just do it. That
so,
was my Nike check.
Yeah. Like, Nike want to sponsor us? So
quality work here.
Swoosh. So with that being said, we are going to attempt to maybe do something weekly on here. Hold ourselves accountable. We've been trying to do a podcast. We've done 2 or 3 episodes so far, on like Spotify, Apple Podcast. But we are having a really hard time sitting down and making ourselves do it. Our brains are like
all over the place
with topics, and so then we just don't do anything. So we thought maybe like putting ourselves on video, I don't know how that would change anything, but it feels like this is easier for us somehow than doing audio only.
Hoping to maybe just like have a conversation and video it and then see how that works out.
Yeah, Emily has this, I don't know. And it's not arrogance. It's like she just thinks that we have these like really great conversations like on our 4-hour drives to our new destination. She's like, I just wish that those were being recorded and like that's what people could listen to or see as like part of our journey, because they're like real conversations, like real, I don't know, disagreements, thoughts that I don't know how to say it, but like
I feel like
it's real talk.
Yeah, like in communicating, and sometimes it's talking about things that we've done, like hikes that we've gone on or disagreements that we've had, and like talking through those, or sometimes it's just discussing like funny things that happened. And sometimes I feel like if there was a camera on us 24/7, like those are the things that I would want, people to see.
Yeah,
it's hard.
And I don't know
like
it's easier people to see it, because it's not like we're like, we want people to watch us. It's more like,
it's just genuine.
These are the things we craved, like, and tried to find when we were looking for more information on like RV travel or whatever, self-improvement. Like, this is the kind of stuff we connect to. It's just like, okay, that's a relatable person, and that like helped me. That was thought-provoking, or that just like made me realize like no one knows what they're doing, and just go for it. And if we are doing it, like, I really don't think anybody, no offense, would have looked at you and been like, Emily is like meant for an RV.
I have to disagree with that. I feel like I am very like one with nature and one with the world, and very like simple and down to earth.
I don't think you need much. One with nature. Okay, so like let's tell people about your camping. Like, how much you like camping.
Listen, okay, I don't not like camping because of nature. I love nature. I'm the person who's like, take off your shoes, have your feet like grounded. Like,
True.
don't like wearing shoes because I just feel like you need to be one with the earth, you know? But camping, like tent camping, I am not a primitive like tent camper. Like, I enjoy a comfortable bed to sleep on. I sweat a lot at night. It just is what it is. Especially after I had Donovan, I sweat even more at night. So, especially in Florida, like camping, you know, anytime other than like probably January to March, it's hot and you're in a blow up mattress or a sleeping bag and I'm sweating, and that it's just not that. No, primitive camping or tent camping is not for me. But
okay, so maybe that's where I
nature.
was going, is like thinking my thought of like being someone that would own an RV. Like, I was thinking it was like, okay, if you love tent camping, like then that's your next step, is get an RV. And what we found is it's more like, hey, to get yourself outside, like skip tent camping if that's not for you and you don't like it, and go the RV route.
Yeah.
Because then you can still experience like state parks, national parks, the flexibility of like being in your own space without having to do like a hotel, bring the dogs along, like all the conveniences of an RV is like, it's not as related to camping as maybe like I originally thought it was.
Yeah,
I
actually,
still, yeah.
you saying that, and I know we've talked about this, is I feel like there's so many stereotypes to RV campers. And
Yeah.
like, we even had our own before we started, or Allie did, more so. More so than me. I feel like you can go both ways. Like, I feel like you can look at some RV campers as like, hoity-toity is not the word I want to use, but like,
they're in their motorhomes with their like big TVs blasting, and they never come
like,
out.
why
And
are
it's
you-
like, why are you even camping?
Exactly.
Like, you're gonna be in that.
and then there's others where I think what you were nervous about when I mentioned getting an RV and, you know, traveling the US was like, you think more of like, nothing against this. I don't want to come off like judgy, but like more like motorhome, or like
Trailer park.
like more like trailer park type things versus like
like stationary trailer park living, right? And like
that's just what you pictured when I talked about it originally.
Yes. And again, like, that's not meant to be like offensive to anyone that's like actually living in a mobile home park, but it's more like that didn't really vibe with my thought of fun.
Yeah.
And then I like thought about like Donovan's safety too. Like, I don't really want him just like out playing around, like weaving in and out of like different stationary motorhome while we're coming in like as transient, you know, travelers. So I just had like a and honestly, I was also guilty of, just like I was guilty before, like now I love country music. Like, that's I guess credit to Emily, but I don't know, I had like my own stereotypes of like, who likes country music, like what is a good old boy, redneck, what is like all these things, and like for some reason I equated all of that also to RV life and camping, like before I started following like Instagram accounts and seeing like full-time families doing things. But like, I had this fear that like we weren't also going to like find our people and fit in, or like, I don't know, safe. Like obviously, you know, we're two moms.
What?
We're married, and because of that, like, I don't know, I just had some nervousness around like being accepted in that. I was just like super wrong on all of that. So
scratch all that, get rid of all your stereotypes and bias, and if you're interested in it, just go for it.
Yeah.
But recently a friend reached out to us, a married couple, friends of ours, reached out to us about RV living and kind of like our experience so far, and they may have an opportunity or be in a position where they would like to get an RV and travel because one of their jobs is becoming remote, and we got to talk to them through that. So they
just said like, hey, brutal honesty, please tell us like everything we need to think about, with thinking of them as people too, of like whether or not, you know, we would recommend doing it, or like just the stuff that maybe they think we wouldn't be posting on social media, like hard moments and stuff. Like, they just wanted like the raw the raw information. And it got us, I mean, obviously I love the conversation. I love them, who we were talking to, but being able to just kind of talk through like our own experiences so far. Like, we are no experts. We've been on the road for 3 months now, and I think we're starting to figure out like what we like. There's such a hard balance, and I'm sure like once we do the solar install, get our batteries and that kind of stuff to do more like independent boondocking, like this will change. But for right now, we're not really like finding that balance anymore of getting to be like in nature, or having like water, electric, and sewer hookup. So like the first part of our trip, we're 3 months in, I think. So like the first part of our trip, the first 6 weeks, we were like doing hip camp and in the mountains, and doing like a lot more dry camping, where we just kind of have like the water we have in our tank, and then we're using like a generator when needed, or not at all if the weather was good enough, and then I was getting a little stressed out with working remotely in some situations where it was like I had to charge like my Jackery, which was like an external battery, just to like make sure my laptop and my internet had power for like the critical 3 hours of the day where I might have had like important demos or calls. So we made a decision like for the second half of the trip to seek out more amenities, but like we've sacrificed a lot of the experiences that would have been like right out of our back door. So thinking of like when we were talking to our friends, if you're working, full time, there is that balance. It's like, are you going to be okay being at like a KOA or like a Sun RV resort where there is like neighbors and there's like a pool and a park and
it's almost more like what I've found, or what I feel like, is there's definitely things to do around the areas in a RV park like this, like Allie mentioned, like a Sun Resort or a KOA, but it's almost like you stay closer to the campground versus like venturing out, where I feel like some of the first places that we stayed at when we were, more in nature already with where we were staying, it made you want to go out.
Like, what hike are we doing
more?
today?
Yeah, like what hike are we doing? Like,
what creek are we playing in today?
Because there wasn't like a playground right outside your RV for your child to like play on, or putt. Like there's putt where we're at right now, and like so we ventured out more because there was nothing to do at the RV other than just be at the RV. But it has, for us right now, because we don't have solar and stuff like that, it's kind of a balance working with Allie and her work, because obviously she's working remotely, and trying to make sure that she's not stressed with work, and having electricity and some of those amenities is what allows her to not be stressed with work. So it's kind of a little bit of a balance. And then also on our way up, we were going, we were on the East Coast, but we were inland more, and so there was more like forests and like outdoorsy things, Yeah,
we said we were gonna do like inland on the East Coast, going up to Maine, and then we were gonna do coastal. And we're just not digging it.
We're not digging it.
I mean, it's hard to say like, oh, I didn't like Cape Cod, or I didn't like. We're in Mystic, Connecticut right now.
Obviously, we live at a beach town, so like we love the beach, obviously, but we realize, I definitely realized, I enjoy being like in nature and forest and trees, and like that's what
it is. Nature, but it's just like you like.
I like trees.
The woods, basically. So, and I feel the same way. Like this, we're eating out more. Like we're doing more things we would do at our own like house in Florida, versus hiking and stuff. So by far, like Bar Harbor was our favorite, because it was like, we did stay at a KOA, the Oceanside Bar Harbor KOA, but we like got to go to Acadia National Park, so we had like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't really, I don't know, we're only like 2 weeks.
I know, when I think
outside of Bar Harbor, but like I feel like now we're just kind of feeling like we're going through the motions a little bit on coastal. So back to what we were saying, like talking with that couple, it was like, I think the whole theme was like, you have to be flexible of what your trip is going to be like, and you have to give up certain things until you invest like in solar and batteries and things like that, because there's obviously a ton of people out there that are doing really cool stuff, boondocking, that also work full time. We're just not not there yet. We didn't invest in those things to be more independent or self-contained, if you will. So we're dependent on and I hate the generator. Like I love it because it's saved us sometimes, obviously, but like I hate the noise, I hate the weight of it, I hate everything about it, and I hate the
many hates.
The dependency, like, on, like, I hope it works this time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if it breaks or something, we would be in a bad spot if we were somewhere where there's not electric. So yeah, I'm sorry. I hate generators.
So what are some of the things that we mentioned, and then just some of the things that we've experienced living in the RV that you need to be flexible with?
I think not getting to stay where you want to stay necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, we're finding that now we, like, want to seek the mountains again, and, like, there's no availability at state parks right now. And that's just poor planning on our part.
We tend to plan last minute. We didn't necessarily...
We check out from this place tomorrow and we don't know where we're going.
This is true. On our way up, we planned a little bit better. On our way back down, we were kind of like, well, we'll just work our way back down. And now we're realizing that, one, I think, obviously, it's probably more difficult to book places the day prior to you get there. But also, COVID has kind of like shut some places down, not all, and some places have reopened. But it's
a lot more people be in RVs right now. So
I think a lot more places are booked that wouldn't necessarily have been booked, and then some places are still shut down. Some state parks where the state park's not shut down, but maybe a campground that was in the state park is shut down. So we're trying to navigate that as well.
And we didn't, like, because in Florida, like, there's no seasons really, like, we didn't realize that, like, right now it's, I don't know what day it is, but it's October something, mid-October. And
22nd. I feel confident in that.
Okay, we're gonna go with that. So it's October 22nd, and I think this is, like, the last weekend, or, like, last couple weeks of, like, camping for, like, people in the north, like in New England area, or like in New York and stuff. So that's the other thing too, is I think people are shoving in, like, last minute camping trips before they winterize. So that has caused us to not have anywhere to go tomorrow. And at the end of the day, we can always go somewhere. It's just, like, going where we want to go, right? Like, or staying in a campground we want to stay in. You're never gonna be, like, totally.
In worst case scenario, you end up in a Walmart parking lot. But
no, you end up at a Harvest Host.
You end up at a Harvest Host. But I'm saying,
like,
even if we couldn't find that, you can always find a Walmart.
Okay,
we've never done that. We've never done that. I don't want to do that. But I'm just saying, if we had to. But people do that. So
that is true. So that would be one thing to be flexible at, is, like, if you haven't planned ahead, then where are you going? But then also, like, if you did plan ahead, you're also kind of handcuffing yourself to not get to extend your stay somewhere. Like, we've also extended our stay
at a
like
couple
3 or 4 times so far, to be like, we like this place, let's keep
or
going. And if
your work schedule was a little different and you didn't get to experience as much of the area as you wanted. Like this week. And so we were able to extend a day or two so that we could all go out and explore as a family. Yeah. So that's been nice too.
Yeah. And then I think, like, another thing to be flexible about is just, like, internet and cell service. Like, again, I think this all has a theme here of, like, pre-planning your trip. Now that I think about it,
we're very spontaneous.
But there's been, like, Verizon really has tricked me with
Verizon let Allie down. She really thought, based on all the commercials and the advertisement, that Verizon was the best everywhere.
Pretty sure they say that in their claims.
Well,
anyway, West Virginia, like, and Verizon don't get along or something. They had a falling out because there's no coverage for Verizon in West Virginia, and, like, also pockets of Virginia. So that's something to be aware of, because if you are in that situation, though, pro tip, not a pro at all, but Wi-Fi calling. So you can have, you can turn on Wi-Fi calling with Verizon at least. I'm sure you can do it with other ones too, where it's just going off of whatever Wi-Fi you have. You don't actually have to have the Verizon coverage. So we'll have a different episode, I guess, on like internet and working from the RV and stuff like that. But I would say like flexibility to know that like it's not always going to be perfect. And even if you have internet, you've created your own internet, or you have like Wi-Fi from a campground or something like that, the download speeds could really... What? You feel geeky talking about this?
I don't feel geeky talking about it. No, I'm just like...
The download speeds and stuff like that, if you're doing like a demo or a Zoom, like that stuff can backfire. So you're like, oh, I got Wi-Fi, and then you realize like the speed sucks. So yeah. That's something else to be flexible on.
I'll say something because I do this weekly, is laundry. When you're at home and you have your own washer and dryer, you can do laundry whenever, however many loads you want, half your laundry one day, half the next day, which I could be doing when we're at a site that has laundry, but laundry is not fun to do in general. So not all the sites that we go to have laundry. Thankfully, though, for us, we've been able to, if the site we didn't have it, the next site did, and I was able to do it. I've only actually had to take our laundry to a laundromat once, and that was in Moosehead Lake in Maine, Greenville area. But, for example, the last place that we were at last week had 2 washers and 2 dryers. It literally took me the entire day to do laundry, which just irks me. I don't want to spend my day going back and forth to the laundry every 30 to 60 minutes to get our stuff washed. It doesn't bother you so much because you're not doing it. But
yeah. No, I really
but that's one thing. I'm like,
that.
You know, not that we're going to upgrade our RV anytime soon, but I did mention to Allie, I'm like, if we ever did upgrade our RV, I would love to have they make...
No, we could do it
washer,
in this
dryer
one.
in one.
Well, we could do a washer in this RV. We didn't have, like, space for it unless we, like, decided to gut our closet area, which I've seen some people do for our model. But the other option is, like, you travel with the washer and the shower, you know, and then...
I have not seen that.
Yeah.
That was probably the most attractive face I've ever done just then.
What did it look like? Seen that.
You're welcome.
Um...
So that's just something to be aware of when you're in the RV. I've seen people that RVers that we follow that hang their clothes up on a line.
Some places you can't.
Some places you can't. So, just being mindful of that. That's obviously a nice to have. Yeah.
And then lastly, well, I don't know. It's like, this is our first YouTube video, and so we're going on 23 minutes.
Ooh. So long.
Like a lot.
So lastly, I guess. Allie's assuming you guys are done listening to us and watching us. So, what's lastly?
No. Sorry. I don't know. It just seems like a lot.
I think what's really happening is we don't have any AC on or the windows open because we want to make sure that the sound quality is good, and we're both sweating so badly right now. Because
it's true.
Even though we are in Connecticut, you would think it would be cooler out. It's like 70 plus, and the sun is shining, and it's hot. So Allie's probably ready to cool off.
It is really hot. Lastly, I was gonna say, like things will go wrong, right? So like if you're picturing like an RV life where it's like we're just exploring and like everyone's happy all the time, and it's not like that, like we are happier than we've ever been. Like we are less stressed, or I'm less stressed. I'm not sure if she was ever stressed, but like it is awesome, and like the good outweighs those moments. But there are going to be times where like, I don't know, your truck you could get a flat tire. You could have like one of your slides in your RV is stuck and won't close or something like that.
On like day 1 of your trip.
Alright, that was my fault, but I fixed it. But like things can happen, and I guess like our advice is like if your marriage is strong, like all that stuff you can just kind of brush off and you'll get over it, you know? But like if you're already not in a good place, I guess, with like the person you're living with in this tiny 200 something square feet.
Yeah, if you're not in a good place prior to getting in 200 square foot, I maybe wouldn't do it.
Maybe, yeah.
You want to be strong before you come in.
But like obviously like there's a lot of things, like you could mess up the sewage and have like a really gross moment. You could have something break. You could have like a day, like I have a lot of sensory issues, I guess, and like so some days like noise, like it's just very triggering for me, whether it's like our child or the dogs or Emily or myself, you know, like there's no like escaping, you know, other than like obviously like taking a walk or something like that, but you have to but like anyway, you just have to, hopefully the people that would be like wanting to do this are doing it because they know like as a team they're gonna face like fun stuff and they're gonna face challenging stuff, but like at the end of the day that stuff isn't bigger than them, right? And so like when we were talking to our friends, like they're just like an amazing couple, like, right, and family, and so it's like, yeah, would I have like maybe thought that that person would want to be in an RV or like it? And I'm like, I don't know, because everybody has like different things, and like you find yourself, I think, when you're when you're traveling, like there's a lot of things. I would definitely not have thought I would be in an RV ever, but I like
choke a little bit when you said that.
Yeah, but I love it, you know. I would, not to scare my parents or anything, but like I would love to just like do this forever, like, and live in it full time, right? And it's like, so you realize that there's things about yourself that you never would have thought that are now pretty cool, I guess. So just be flexible. Yeah, I don't.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. So we'll do another video soon. Go watch that video on Emily's inside setup tour, because
I feel like that video sets me up to be like, I have to be on point every time.
I've never seen that part of you, so that was...
I'm very funny.
No, you're not. Wow.
Uh-oh.
The screen totally froze when she said that, because it was even like...
It glitched.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching.